your trusted local news source, KCRG TV9.
Hello and welcome back to your trusted local podcast.
I am Beth Malicki.
I am Becky Phelps, and we are so excited to bring you some of the top stories from our news week here in Eastern Iowa.
Absolutely. What do you want to start with, Becky?
Well, we're going to start with something that I believe for both of us, as people who are very aware of illnesses and viruses and staying healthy. We're going to start with measles. Measles has been a pretty big conversation for people across the country. And recently, again, here in Eastern Iowa, a case here, a case there, we had kind of a larger conversation this week about it.
We did, and really this came to our attention because of a social media post from a mom. Somebody had seen it and actually outside of our market and reached out to us, and then we all have phones, we all have access to the internet, so we quickly saw these series of TikToks that a mom recorded about her family's journey with a measles exposure at a Cedar Rapids daycare.
So we got some emails from another news station. We got a bunch of Facebook messages. We got those starting on Saturday, and it took a while for any of this to get confirmed in a way that we are actually able to report it. So we can't, for obvious reasons, take anything that someone says on TikTok and run with it. So we had to, on the weekend, reach out to some folks who are usually not available on the weekends. And that's Lynn County Public Health, who would happen to be in this case. Other public health departments, of course, we would reach out to. And we ended up, during the week, reaching out to the state Health and Human Services.
Yeah, because
that acronym always trips me up.
Because it's new. Because the county public health said, we can't talk to you. And anytime they're cagey, we know, you got something. So who can confirm this? And their protocol is, this has to come from the state.
Absolutely. So when did it came on Monday? We got it confirmed from the state, I believe.
I believe it was because I got called out on a TikTok from a viewer who was like, why aren't you covering this? And I felt a little attacked, I'm not going to lie. And I go, you're right. What you just said, we can't report on TikTok rumors. And I go, we're waiting for confirmation because we are getting a lot of other indicators that this is really happening. For example, the county being a little cagey. And literally later that day, it was Monday, that we were able to confirm that there was now a 7th case in the state of Iowa for 2025, and that this one was specifically in Eastern Iowa. Then they did something I have not seen before. They laundry listed everywhere patient 0 had been in the last 2 weeks.
Which is part of where all of this came from.
Yes.
Where we first heard about it was one of those potential exposure sites, a daycare, where there are a lot of people and a lot of worried parents.
Yeah, especially vulnerable people. What we know about measles, it tends to, most people who contract measles do get over it. It's not like 100% of people get it, go on to have terrible outcomes. And for those who do have terrible outcomes, they're preventable. And the more vulnerable you are, is the weaker your immune system is. So obviously that's babies, that's children who maybe not are old enough to get vaccinated. And that was the case for the woman who first sounded the alarm on social media. Her baby's 9 months old, and that little one could not get vaccinated yet. So what they had to do was do what's called, and I may mispronounce this, my apologies in advance, immunoglobulin infusions.
Sounds right to me.
And you get them, according to the mom, at the hospital. And what that is, it reminds me for those of us who got COVID in the early days, if you were at high risk, because I have asthma and I am, you would get like a cocktail of antibodies to help your body fight the illness. And that's exactly what this is. Thankfully, I saw the mom give an update, I want to say today on TikTok. Little baby has not shown any symptoms.
It's wonderful.
And yet they still have to quarantine for 28 days.
This is, from my understanding and her expression, extraordinarily stressful. I messaged with her on Facebook a little bit over the weekend to just get some background info. We did end up talking to her on the phone, I believe on Monday or Tuesday.
I think it was Tuesday.
To just get an idea of what this experience has been like for her family. We're going to play you a bit of that phone interview that we had with Martha Martin.
So we found out Friday evening, so they said we got a call from Lynn County Public Health saying that we needed to go to the emergency room in the morning on Saturday to get something called an immunoglobulin shot, which is actually 5 shots. So we were there for about 2.5 hours. and went in through a side entrance at the emergency room so we didn't expose anybody else, because measles stays in the air for up to 2 hours once it's been exposed into the air in a room. And so then they came in and gave Hal, my son, 5 shots, one in each arm, and then one in each leg, and then another one in the other leg. So that was not fun for him. He's not had any symptoms or anything yet, which is good, which I think that's the job of the immunoglobulin. He is too young to get the vaccine. So babies typically don't get the vaccine until 1 year old, and he's only 9 months old, so he does not have it. So that's why he's at risk right now for getting measles. The person, it was a parent that came in, and they did confirm that the person was vaccinated. So I'm definitely not upset at the parent for exposing him, and it's not the daycare's fault. So it's just frustrating that this is happening to my family, especially because we are extremely careful when it comes to sicknesses. It seems like my son has gotten every single sickness in the book, and we are so careful. We get him all of his vaccines, and it's just like everybody is just choosing to not get vaccines and harm everybody else. And people keep saying to me, like, if your vaccine works so well, then why are you even concerned if that I'm not vaccinated? But that's not how vaccines work. People need to be vaccinated in order for it to work. 95% 95% herd immunity for the vaccine to be 97% effective is what my pediatrician said to me. So it's just extremely frustrating that nobody's taking this seriously. And I mean, my son, if he ends up getting it, he's not vaccinated. He could die. He could have lifelong health problems, lifelong health injuries. I mean, this is a really serious disease that was eradicated, and now it's back just because people do not want to participate in modern medicine unless they have to.
It's a lot of stress, obviously.
And she has been vocal since we talked to her on Tuesday about what she is facing. And she had some criticisms for us, and I'm always willing to listen to people's criticisms as long as they are focused on the content at hand and not weirdly focused on someone's hair or clothing. So she had some, I think, so her criticism is that our story did not focus enough on what measles can do to a baby, on how measles can compromise an immune system, a life even. We did include that in the story, but she felt like the focus was too much on her and her frustration and what her family's going to. So it was a really interesting feedback. But if I may, I would like to share, what are we talking about when we say measles is dangerous?
Please.
So according to the CDC, 1 in 5 unvaccinated people who contracts measles will be hospitalized due to the illness. And 1 in 20 children who contract the measles will develop pneumonia. And pneumonia is the most common cause of death related to the measles in young children. 1 child out of 1,000 who gets measles will get encephalitis, as you know, swelling of the brain, very serious. It can lead to deafness or an intellectual disability. And 1 to 3 out of every 1,000 children, so up to 3 out of every 1,000 children who get measles will die. Complications during pregnancy are real if contracting the measles. That's why they really are, if you are pregnant, your OBGYN, your physician team really wants to know your vaccination status, because that can truly compromise a developing fetus. If you survive measles, so if you don't have one of these horrible outcomes, but you do survive the disease, although very rare, you can develop something called SSPE, subacute sclerosing panencephalitis. It can be fatal, but if you survive it, like I said, you can deal with early onset dementia and neurological conditions that can change the functionality of that person's life forever. So you can hear this mom we talked to, Ms. Martin, very concerned and very educated, frankly, about the risk this disease poses, especially for her child, who cannot get vaccinated because of her child's age. She also mentioned something we haven't yet touched on. I joked, I probably shouldn't have joked, but I referred to the dad who is this most recent case. I'm assuming it's a dad, it could be a mom, we just know it's a parent, right? As patient 0.
Yes.
He or she is fully vaccinated.
Yes.
And they can't tell where this individual acquired it. It wasn't from a family member. They hadn't recently traveled. So this reminds me of COVID.
That was kind of like the red flag that I saw while reading up on this on Monday and Tuesday was, what do you mean they don't know where it came from?
So that means it's a community-acquired illness. And my understanding, based on COVID knowledge, is that once you get it out in the community and you can't tether it to a relative or a recent travel pattern, that means it's in your community. And because this disease, unlike COVID and the flu, is so transmissible, doctors, pediatricians, and the like in the whole area need to be on higher alert, as well as normal people who are not in the medical field.
Now, you mentioned she is, of course, very highly educated
Yes.
about this disease and the impacts of it. I feel as though right now most people are not, because
Agreed.
it's been eradicated for so long. I had to, I guess I didn't have to, but I did because I was curious. Went back and talked to my parents and just double checked, like, hey, did I get the measles vaccine? You know, like, what was the situation when I was young? Just curious about it, because no one talks about it right now.
They don't.
Until very recently.
And I don't know your parents' ages, but I'm fascinated by if you were born before, 1957, you don't need the vaccine. Because it was so prevalent before 1957, you certainly already had it as a child.
Wow.
I know. So then we went without it for so long. I mean, we've had 3 deaths in the United States from measles in 2 states, Texas and New Mexico. And according to Yale Medicine, those deaths are the first for measles in the United States since 2015. It's a lot.
Wow.
And you know, we've talked to a number of physicians. I think of Dr. Dustin Arnold at Unity Point Health St. Luke's, who encourages people to be critical of the medical system and is himself a critic of some things that happened during COVID. And he said, as critical as, be critical, ask questions, and the MMR vaccine is both safe and effective, and you must use it.
Yeah, there's decades of research and results
Because I was
from the
kind
measles
of,
vaccine.
because he does doubt things in a way that sometimes I'm like, well, that's not in alignment
I remember
with
some
common
of my
medical
COVID
knowledge.
era interviews with him.
Yes.
He's frank.
He is. So I was almost expecting him to sort of say what I feel like we've been hearing in some aspects of, I don't know, the internet, if you will, even echoed by many champions of RFK Jr., that ask more questions and maybe delay when it comes to vaccines if you get them at all. That was so not his guidance when he spoke to us on camera. It was wild.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So measles, because this was a community-acquired illness, I would not personally be shocked if we see more cases. It does stay in the air, like she said, for 2 hours. The first symptoms, you think of it like it starts up here in your face and it spreads to the rest of your body symptom-wise. According to the CDC, you can have, I think it's pronounced coryza, which I've never heard in my life, or coryza. It simply means running nose.
Oh, what?
So runny nose, conjunctivitis, which I think we have heard of, pink eye, red, watery, itchy, sand-filled feeling eyes, and Koplik spots, which are little white dots in your mouth.
Okay, I think I have heard of that.
Then, so that the Koplik spots show up after 2 to 3 days after symptoms begin. And then 3 to 5 days, it's the famous, we see the images of it, the measles rash. And that goes down the trunk. You see like little baby pictures of their little tummies with those little red dots on them. And high fever, high to me, 104 is high to me. I don't know if 104-degree fever is high for everybody, but to me, that freaks me out.
That feels high.
Yeah.
I feel like as a kid, we started getting concerned on like 102.
Exactly. And a cough.
Yeah.
So so measles, it sounds, a cough sounds like COVID. Oh, a high fever, it sounds like flu. Yes, and those white spots in the mouth and that rash on the tummy. And they're like, if you suspect you've had an exposure or you're seeing any of those symptoms in yourself or someone you care about, do not show up at the urgent care. Do not show up at the emergency department. You have to call first.
This mom said she had to go through a side door.
Exactly.
Which is just, and it's great that they have a plan, they have a strategy, they are so careful and safe, but it is frightening. And I want to note that our producer, Elizabeth, off camera, was having a visceral reaction to the description of those symptoms.
So sorry. Sweet Elizabeth.
Which, frankly, I agree with. I don't want to go through that.
We don't. And I am fully vaccinated. I still remember getting the MMR vaccine as I was heading off to kindergarten because it did cause a little bit of a sore arm. And I was pretty traumatic, shocking, to hear that. And when I got pregnant, I was so relieved because I did have a dear friend whose sister had the severe neurologic complications from German measles when their mom was pregnant with this sister, and that was an older sister. And then after that child, it's a horrific situation. The mom was vaccinated for all subsequent pregnancies and never had another German measles situation. But I did not know that was a thing until this friend of mine shared, I have another sibling. We really don't talk about her. She is living in an institution and she's nonverbal and she doesn't have awareness and all these things. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I, of course, turned to the internet and educated myself, and it was terrifying. You would not wish that upon anybody, for that child who is now an adult, nor for the family. So like the physicians and everybody have been saying, just get the vaccine. And obviously some people's immune systems can't get it. Some people who are undergoing chemotherapy cannot get vaccines. And those are the folks that are so at risk in a situation like what we have in Linn County.
We had a story this weekend about if the case rates keep trending the way they are, that by January, the country will lose its status of measles being eradicated.
That soon, just January.
January.
Of 2026.
Yeah.
Huh.
Which January, in a way, feels so far off, and yet is not at all.
It's really not far, especially when you're talking about, I don't think people realize how transmissible measles is.
I don't think I did until this particular story.
It's not like COVID. It's not like the flu.
And
it's
COVID
not like the chicken
spread
pox.
so fast.
Correct. Yeah, no, this is lightning compared to COVID. Would not be like that at all.
And if you are listening and you are in Eastern Iowa, we do have the full site of potential exposure areas up on our website. If you're curious, want to retrace your steps, where you were last week, we do have those on our website.
Absolutely. All right, what else?
This one's a bit of a turn, a little
Okay.
more fun, a little bit lighter conversation. How would you have liked to get paid to move to Cedar Rapids, Iowa?
Well, I did move to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and KCRG did help with my moving expenses, which was huge because moving to another state is wildly expensive. I was coming to this job, so I was making more money, so in a way, but I wasn't like getting paid to move, if you know what I mean.
Right. It kind of worked into your contract a little bit, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but an outright moving bonus did not exist for me. It would be great. Are you kidding?
How would you like $5,600 to move to Cedar Rapids,
I mean, that
Iowa?
would be amazing.
Or Marion, I believe, or Hiawatha, I think, are
Okay.
also included in that. It's a brand new program.
Okay, this is the incentive program. It's not called the Chamber of Commerce anymore.
It is the
Metro
Cedar
Economic-
Rapids Metro Economic Alliance
That's right.
program, which is a little bit of a mouthful.
So how are they paying for that?
That's a great question.
Okay.
Our reporter Abigail Curtin is, I believe, working on that story right now.
She is. I just peeked at her 4:00 piece that she's putting together, and it's from, the Metro Economic Alliance looks like it's self-funding it.
So they're pulling it out of their budget.
They are. And obviously a community's Chamber of Commerce relies on dues of its members. And it's not called the Chamber of Commerce anymore, but it behaves very, very similarly to one, and it rebranded its name 15-ish years ago. They also get funding from local communities. And obviously those communities raise all their money from taxpayer dollars. So you could say in a roundabout way, some of that $5,600 per is coming from taxpayer dollars, but not the full amount.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think they've already had 3 people get in.
They have had 3 people. They've had 30 apply.
Wow.
Which feels...
So what are the parameters? What are the requirements?
Okay, so you have to be 18 or older.
Okay.
And obviously currently not living in Iowa. So you have to be from out of the entire state, not just out of Eastern Iowa.
Okay.
You must currently have a full-time job or be self-employed with remote capability, which is interesting.
So do you have to always work from home?
I think you have the option
Okay.
to
okay.
be
all
working
right.
from home. You must produce a minimum income of $55,000 a year.
Okay, that's
So
a pretty
when you-
solid income for.
When you move
yeah.
here, you have to have a job that's paying, I believe, at least $55,000.
Okay.
And you must relocate, you must commit to relocating your primary residence to Cedar Rapids, Marion, or Hiawatha within 6 months of signing on to this program.
This is so interesting. And they just write you a check.
Here's your okay, so we have $5,000, free Economic Alliance membership, local Parks and Rec vouchers, and regional perks. Not sure what the regional perks are quite yet.
Maybe gift cards? I
Gift
don't know.
cards, maybe?
But it is the $5,000. That's cold hard
Yes,
cash.
cold
you have
hard
to, You have to
cash.
pay taxes on that because that's like income, right?
I would think so.
Okay.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I would take it.
It's a good offer,
Yeah.
and they're looking to have at least 15 people by the end of this year. And they say, and this seems crazy to me. They say that the economic impact of getting 15 people into Eastern Iowa
Yeah.
over the
15
next 5 years
New bodies. Mm-hmm.
makes $19 million in economic impact.
What?
15?
How?
I'm
They're
not
only making
sure.
$55,000 a year.
They say that they say bringing
Okay.
these 15 households in is going to create an economic ripple of $19 million over the next 5 years.
So I wonder if they're assuming the average household is 2 adults, 1 child under the age of 18, and if all of the ripple effect that, I mean, I have no idea how they're coming up with that math.
Is potential ripple effect college tuition? Is potential ripple effect dinner on Friday nights? You know,
Sure.
like,
Which makes sense.
what qualifies as...
And probably, so let's say they're buying a house and they're taking out a local loan. You know what I mean? For $500,000 to buy a house. There we go.
That's the money.
That's the math. See how we can do
See,
that?
we're good at math.
We also don't know if that's true. We're just
We're hypothesizing
Exactly.
about the potential 15 new members of our community and their families.
I'd love to interview one of them once they get here.
See,
And
that would be fascinating. Why? Why'd you take the deal?
like, where'd you come from? What about that? Because it can't be just the $5,000 incentive. There must be something else that drew you either to Cedar Rapids region or pushed you out of wherever you were. Maybe taxes were crazy high. Maybe you didn't like the crime situation or the amenities of your community.
Too much traffic in New York.
Traffic. You know what I think? We always joke because we're originally from St. Louis, both my husband and I, and we go back to St. Louis, and the first 2 days we're like, oh, we should come back. Oh, we love it here. And then by the 3rd day we're like, burn it down. Get me out of this traffic heck hole.
Cedar Rapids not so bad.
Not at all. And I'm also like, to go to like Costco for my mom, I love her to death. It's a whole thing. My husband cruises by the grocery store, you know, on the way home from work, like it's no biggie whoop.
That's really interesting.
Yes.
It's hard to think about.
Yes.
I have thought about, like, if I ever have to move,
Yeah.
what if there's not a Target within 10 minutes?
Or that you have to drive for 20 minutes in traffic to get to that 10-minute away Target. I guess you could just do home delivery, but sometimes you want to pick out your own stuff.
Yeah.
And linger.
It's just, it feels, I don't know, this community feels very comfortably spread out.
It is, and I mean, you grew up in this region.
Yes,
And
I did.
I feel like I know everybody. And I have a story about everybody or somebody's brother. I mean, you've always been able to do that.
It's, it's for such a, technically, it's a large town.
Yeah.
It feels so small. It feels very intimate and very personal. And, you know, I ran into one of my neighbors my entire life at our 9 Who Care banquet in the spring, and I couldn't figure out what he was doing there.
Like, and what is your intersection
I'm
to
sorry.
this place?
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
And of course, he's always been involved in a nonprofit, and it's
Oh.
just, you know, it makes sense. But, you know, people are always there. Someone you know is always around.
And I will say this about living in Cedar Rapids. If I have a problem or a challenge, I know how to navigate to find a solution through the people and structures in this community. And when I talk to my family, and they'll be like, we just don't know what to do, we'll just Google around. I'm like, sure, Google your heart out, ChatGPT it up. Also, call somebody who
Right.
you know who works there, or, you know, oh, I don't know anybody. And my family, I think, is pretty aware and knows their area, but it's different. I don't know. I think it's different here. I think it's easier to live, if that makes sense.
People are very friendly.
They are, and sometimes, you know, they're also very annoying, but so am I.
A few weeks ago, I was on a walk downtown, and a woman stopped me on the sidewalk, and she was like, "I'm sorry, I just moved here. Can you help me figure out like the pay to park situation on the side streets?" And it was so funny. I just hung out with this woman for 5 minutes, teaching her how to do the app.
Yes, download the app.
Which is confusing for the record.
It is confusing. I know they say it's so
sense.
slick. No.
Oh, the concept.
Yes.
Sure, the app is easier, but
And I figure it out,
quarters.
but I do swear a lot when I'm doing it.
which is valid.
Okay, why was she visiting? What was her story?
She had just moved here.
What? Did she get the inside?
I don't think so. This was before this was announced.
Okay.
But she had family in the area and had just moved.
Oh.
And, yeah, it was very interesting. But there are folks coming here of their own accord, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it would be really fascinating to hear from one of these 3, or maybe eventually one of these 15, what their family looks like, why they applied to the program. Because 5,000 is good, but like you said, that can't be all.
That can't be it, right? I mean, maybe it is for somebody. I shouldn't, in my perspective, that wouldn't be enough.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. And I wonder, you have to imagine the goal is for them to support local businesses, bring some life back downtown. Our reporter, Abigail Curtin, who's been working on this story today, Friday, talked to one of the businesses, hoping to get some staff members from this. Kepros.
Oh yeah, Kepros Physical Therapy.
Yes.
Love Ted. What a gem of a human.
So
See what I mean? We know everybody.
See, we know everybody in this town. He said they lost 15% of their staff in the pandemic.
Oh.
And it's been hard getting staff back. So
I totally believe that. And there are a lot of people who want to go into physical therapy. But maybe, I don't know, is this a cool place to live if you're 23?
It's really getting there.
Okay. I'm so far out of the game.
I can't emphasize how much Cedar Rapids, Marion, at least I can speak for, has changed from when I was growing up. I moved here in the first grade.
Yeah.
And the neighborhood next to my neighborhood used to be a big pile of grass for deer.
Yeah.
And when I went to college and came back, it was a neighborhood, and everything around it was neighborhoods and brand new houses, and it was just growing. Even the first development has really, it is very busy.
It
all
is.
of the time in a way that downtown has not been.
Yeah, and that has been just in the last couple years. And then I think back to when we moved here in 2005 and how the flood was so devastating and opened up so much opportunity that we could have never envisioned. We were in the midst of the tragedy. And the downtown looks very different post-flood. I also think of like places we love to go, Lightworks Coffee Shop in downtown Cedar Rapids, Cobble Hill Restaurant. Those did not exist, back before the flood. And I don't know, there's seems to be enough to fill our cup at this juncture.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see
we'll follow up on
how
that.
this makes a dent.
Cool.
I've got one last little segment for us here today.
Okay.
Some fun stories.
Oh, wow.
Some positive stories.
Yay.
Some, if you may, hopeful headlines.
Hopeful headlines. I love it.
You coined it.
I did.
She's so modest. So we've had we do have positive news happening, which we often get feedback from viewers that we don't talk about all the positive things happening in the community enough. Yeah. And in a way, I agree. I would love to cover therapy dogs every day.
For sure.
But in another very real way, there is a lot of news happening all of the time.
And we've done research on that, on sort of what is that tipping point of discomfort where people turn away because it's just too much doom and gloom. And the research is clear. They actually want and feel that they need the doom and gloom of what's the reality of their community, of their state, of their region, of their nation, and the world. And at the same time, they too have that limit. And I would argue you're not alone. We also have that limit. Yes. So when we get to do those positive stories, the Our Towns, the 9 Who Care, it does elevate the soul a little bit. The human brain operates in such a way that we tend to remember things that are negative more so than we remember things that are positive. So even if we do feel like we have that balance in a newscast, it does make sense to me when viewers walk away and all they remember was the coverage of the Texas floods, was the coverage of a program being lost because of budget shifts, a violent crime. They didn't necessarily retain the Our Town piece. And so I'm not blaming people, because there's literally research on this, how the human brain works. And I mean it from my soul. We are trying.
Absolutely. Speaking of Our Town, what was your Our Town this year?
Tipton.
Do you have a favorite piece from Tipton?
Oh gosh, it'd have to be Tiffany's Tipton Bakery.
Tiffany's Tipton Bakery.
So the Tipton Bakery is famous. The Crescents, which is a moon-shaped donut topped with powdered sugar and filled with a little bit of cream, like a whipped creamy situation. Allegedly, it's one of Governor Reynolds' favorites. Every time she goes to Tipton, she has to have a crescent, and it is a multi-generation. Like, it has not been in the same family since its inception, but it has been passed to other local families over the years, and it's been around for, I want to say, roughly 100 years.
Wow.
And oh yeah, no, it's awesome. It's very easy to find in downtown Tipton. But if you walk in and you ask for crescents and they're out and you're mad, that's on you. It's so popular, you might need to call the day before and have Tiffany set some aside, Tiffany Meinert. Because some days she sells out. She's like, I sell out almost immediately.
That's incredible. And bakeries open early. I'm picturing a line.
And it was pretty cool because she not only has these amazing sweet treats that obviously bring a lot of people in, she has formed partnerships with other restaurants in towns to make their hamburger buns.
Oh.
To make their bread, so that it was really neat to hear that side of the business, which frankly is good for everybody.
I love seeing how smaller towns work together like that, and just sourcing from each other. I think it's really incredible.
Yeah, Tipton is a really interesting community. It has also a family foods grocery store that is kicking. It's doing amazing. And I feel like once a week we hear of another grocery store that's in trouble.
Yes.
And
we are constantly doing grocery store shuts down stories.
Yes. So, but the Tipton is a town of fewer than 4,000 people.
And their grocery is thriving.
Yes, they've expanded it. And at lunch hour, he goes, I serve on average 100 plus lunch hour meals at our deli counter. Some days, they have a special meatloaf sandwich. Sometime, people always love their, more typical deli sandwiches, roast beef, turkey, ham, whatever. And then they have soups. And 100 people, that's a significant patronage.
Wow.
So Family Foods there in Tipton, and Tiffany's Tipton Bakery. Can you see I'm food focused? I am a little hungry.
That's okay. Joe Winters is always food focused on the Our Towns.
That's how we get along.
You have to bring him something to eat
every time
during the live shots, or else he's not.
You'll hear about it.
You'll hear about it. One more little palate cleanser for us today.
Yeah.
Keegan Turnbow, our Dubuque bureau reporter, did a story on an Eastern Iowa couple who is giving out these free backpacks full of supplies to fire departments across the area to help them when they respond to a situation and they have kids or adults with autism. Help those people respond to an emergency, because that can be a very, very stressful situation.
Absolutely.
It's so overwhelming. There's a lot happening, the sirens, the lights, there's obviously a lot of noise, a lot of visuals happening. So that can be very stressful for people who have autism. So the Snaith family, they started the Snaith Family ASD Sensory Project. They offer free training and free supplies to all of these different organizations. They've done the Bennett Ambulance Service, Scott County EMS, Moline Fire Department, and recently the Dubuque Fire Department got this free training, which is so interesting. It was cool to see what's in the backpack.
Yeah, like what is in there?
They've got noise-canceling headphones. They've got stress balls, sunglasses, weighted lap pads, kind of like a weighted blanket kind of thing, which I have a weighted blanket and I love it.
But for if you're sitting, so it can just be...
Yeah, just sit down, de-stress, feel that pressure.
Yeah.
And they are able to give those items out. So if there's a kid on scene and they get attached to an item, they can keep it. Yeah, and the Snaith family will replace that item for the backpack.
It was interesting to read the comments when that story was posted to Facebook, and how many families said just feels like the community taking care of us. And that people recognize that our children and friends who are neurodivergent deserve a level of understanding that doesn't always happen. and that this family is providing this, and that fire departments are willing to do an additional training.
Fire departments have so much
They do.
to do. They have so much on their plate. A lot of smaller departments are often understaffed.
Yeah, and all volunteer.
All volunteer, yes. So it's really, really incredible that they are saying, yeah, let's have this training. We'll make space in our trucks for the backpacks. We want to go the extra mile for people.
I tell you, so this hopeful headline thing is awesome, and it also demonstrates what the family does. The Snaith families?
The Snaith family.
That if you have an idea and you want to do something to help others, I truly believe this is a community. I think this happens all over Iowa. I don't think it's just in the Cedar Rapids area. That if you have an idea and you want to do something and you're willing to put in the work to do it, people will say yes. And I don't know if everybody gets, I have not felt that level of access and support in other communities where we've lived. I just think it's just special here, and yay for the family for doing the heavy lifting on this.
Absolutely. It's a really incredible project.
Yay. All right.
Thank you so much for joining us for this week's episode of Your Trusted Local Podcast.
Have a good one.